What's up guys, and welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today I am cloaked up in my Stratios in a C5 wormhole because I want to look at the Ninja Stratios technique to be able to run certain C5 relic and data hacking sites. Now this is a technique that's been around for quite a long time. It's not new. I first saw it on Erstschlag's, sorry if I butchered that name, stream probably about 3 years ago. So obviously not going to take credit for pioneering this, but I am in the process of putting together an end-to-end Tengu manufacturing video where I'm linking in a bunch of other videos as where to harvest the resources, and this is quite an important one for me because this is where I get all of my the blueprints for the hulls for Tech 3 manufacturing. So that's why I'm recording this today. That video on Tengu manufacturing will be out in the next couple of weeks with this linked in. But yes, basically you may be wondering, if you don't know the technique, you may be wondering how a Stratios can possibly run a C5 hacking site. Ordinarily you'd need a very well fit marauder or a fleet of battleships to clear these. So the answer is with a very specific and niche fit, basically. Stratios obviously is an armor vessel ordinarily, but if you go full shield buffer tank with a lot of regen built in, you can tank enough of the first wave to then be able to hack the site, basically, is the long and short of it. And you use the rat trigger mechanics to be able to survive the site while you then go and hack everything. So very quick rundown of the fit. Rigs are all about shield regen, so it's the Tech 2 field purges. Mids, you've just got large shield extenders plus an EM amplifier to plug the hole in the shield, and then the lows, damage control and then shield power relays, all about regen again. In the high slots, I've got a few autocannons. This is just to help clear the frigs. That's not very important, but you can just add a little bit of extra DPS to the frigates. You obviously need your cloak and your probe scanners to be able to find the sites in the first place. But then equally importantly is what you then carry with you in your cargo hold, because you can't then hack the site if you don't have anything in your mids. So you'll need your mobile depot, and then basically the standard hacking stuff, so cargo scanners and a relic and data analyzer. And then it's worth getting the prop mod and the warp core stab to help you if someone lands on you while you're hacking, because it's not a cheap ship to hack in, and plus the nanofiber internal structures for the same reason, help you align quicker and get away. But also carry some drone damage amplifiers, so that as the incoming DPS starts to drop off, you can swap out some regen for some increased damage to speed up and reduce the amount of time you need to spend on grid. All in all, it's not too pricey. Obviously about a year ago the price of the Stratios went up considerably, as with all faction ships. But the rest of it is pretty cheap, pretty simple. So bulk of the price is the ship itself and the rigs, and then everything else is pretty cheap. Obviously these aren't your main weapon system. The Stratios is a drone boat, so you want to bring your drones with you. I've got enough hammerheads that I can always have 5 out if I lose a few. So you can see I've already lost, I think I started with 10, so I've lost 3 through drone aggro. Oh no, I've got some in another. Oh, there we go. So I've only lost 1 from drone aggro. That's nice. Warriors, same deal. You want to use them to take out sort of the faster stuff, and reduce the amount of drone aggro you're getting. So I started with 15 of these. I've lost a few of them. And then the really important one though is the ECM drones. and you'll see why they're really important later. But you definitely want to have a big pile of these. Invariably, I lose one per site. So if you're going to be using this fit and running through a bit nomad style through wormhole space, then you're going to want a good pile of these because you expect to lose them. But anyway, so that's the fit. I'm going to warp to the sites in a second, but just to mention, in C5 wormholes there are two types of relic and two types of data sites. The ones you can only run one of each with this fit. So you'll see in my bookmarks the unsecured frontier enclave relay. You cannot run that in this. This is a data site that you can't do. The data site you can run is the frontier server bank. And similarly, for the relic sites, there's the forgotten core information pen that you leave alone, you cannot run it. And there's the forgotten core data field, which is the one you want and the one you can run. But yes, so without further ado, I'll warp into the unsecured frontier server bank and we will see how we get on. You've got a cloak, so always worth warping into these things cloaked. There's nothing on landing where you land, so you can warp in cloaked and scout the site out safely. Also, as with most of my videos, remember you're in wormhole space, so you need to be descanning. I've been in this system for a little while, so I'm confident there's not many people around. I did see a Megathrum, which for a couple of times, which is probably being used to roll a wormhole from the other side, because I've not seen him for a while. So yes, that's basically keep yourself safe if you can. You want to be confident you're alone because these all the rats have scrams. So once you get started, you are stuck here until you're finished. And then also just quickly, this is the data site. So you'd think you just want to bring a data analyzer in. But what you're really hoping for in these sites is the abandoned Talakan battleship, which is a relic site. So even though this is data, this is a relic, it can. So you also need your relic analyzer. And it's these units specifically where you can get the chance to get the hull, the relics that you need for the Tech 3 hull manufacturing. So all of these will contain sleeper data cores basically, but you can get some high value stuff, but that's why we've got our cargo scanner, so we're not wasting too much time. But this is what you want. This is where you get the Tech 3 hull. So let's see what we've got. You start with 5 frigates, the emergent sentinels, and 5 awakened keepers, the cruisers. They all, I think there's nuke pressure, there's webs, there's scrams. So it is a problem if you come in the wrong fit, you'll probably die. But that's why this fit comes in. It's completely passive, and so the nukes don't matter. We've got our passive shield regen that is high enough to tank the site, and we just slowly work through it with our drones. So without further ado, I'm gonna uncloak, and drop my mobile depot and MTU and start receiving some aggro. Let's stop my ship so we're not moving. Get ready. Mobile depot MTU, and the triggers are the cruisers. So ideally, if you're confident your tank can cope, you want to take out the frigates first, because you have to leave one of the cruisers on grid. That's quite important. So as we're going through this takes a little while. I'm not going to fast forward through it, I don't think, but if you're confident as to how things are running and you just wanted to see the fit, then skip through to when we're getting the loot. But one thing that's important to mention, you see that it's quite scary, is the wormhole effect will have an impact on whether or not this is a good idea and things. So, for example, a Wolf Raya, which is which nerfs shield and is fully benefiting armor ships, I haven't tried this. I wouldn't give it a go. I expect the tank would fail. If you're in a pulsar, then this is far more comfortable. No problems at all. Drone aggro is heavy, by the way, and because they've got webs, your drones can take a battering. So it's completely locked up. But yes, then the one that's sometimes interesting is a black hole, because I actually don't like running them in black holes because the warriors are so fast, and the black holes in a C5 give them a huge speed boost. They're so fast that they don't come back into your drone bay. They spend ages just orbiting the ship, and they're going too fast to come back into your drone bay, which is annoying. So if they're getting aggroed, they die. But so one's gone. You see the tank's holding absolutely fine once it got to 50%-ish. So pretty soon I'll probably swap for one of the drone damage amplifiers. But also the capacitor's gone. That happens very fast. The cruisers nuke pretty heavily. So you can't have any active modules for this. But drones do a pretty good job of taking out the frigates. Once this one dies, swap on to the next. Ooh, return them. But I am going to swap to a drone damage amp now, and we'll just keep an eye on our shield because obviously our regen has dropped significantly. So I think, did I lose? No, I didn't lose that. So yeah, you can play with the tank as much as you want and how much risk you're willing to take versus speed. But obviously just keep a close eye when you're doing passive shield regen. It's important when you get down to the 30-35% mark. That's when your regen is at its fastest and highest. But obviously if you drop beyond that point, the regen rate then drops off very quickly. So it's a bit of a risk to try and hover around the 30% mark, because if you get it wrong, then you're in serious trouble. So I'll probably use warriors to take out the rest of the frigates because that's going quite well. But then we'll swap to hammerheads for the cruisers when the drone aggro should be a little bit less. But if they do get aggroed, it's a real problem because then the drones are out of 30 kilometers. If one of them gets webbed, then that's the end of it. It's not coming back in time. We are constantly descanning, so bear that in mind. Like it's not gonna be obvious. I don't click. It's on the hotkeys. It's automatically mapped to V on the keyboard. But every now and again, you'll see the green come up, and that's me descanning. Right, I want to move this warrior to a different. Let's go H4 for now, because I don't want it to come back out. And away we go. So there's a couple reasons for running these sites. First of all is obviously if you're going to do Tech 3 manufacturing, you need to find a way to get hold of the hull relics, which they're called like sleeper hull relics. They're sort of the yellow loot that you get from sleeper sites like this. But the hull relics only spawn in high class wormhole sites, so you won't find them in C123. Very occasionally an abandoned Talican ship will spawn in C4 sites, but it's quite rare. So this is why I've got this ship and this setup. Is because this is how I get all of my my hull relics. It's by running these sites. And the nice thing is obviously you can run data or relic sites to get them, because the battleship spawns in both forms. Not always. You'll run some where it doesn't spawn, and so if you warp in, decloak and find it's not there, then maybe leave before you get scrammed. But it is still possible. And then there's the second reason. There is also just some quite good loot generally sometimes. You know, it's possible that there's nothing really. You might end up with sort of 5 to 10 million. But I've had a couple of these cans, Broken Sleeper cans, that contain a module, not a module, an item that's worth 150 million. And so it's just kind of worth it. But also, obviously Sleeper Rats drop blue loot. So just from the cruisers and just from the rats in this first wave, you get somewhere around 35 million in blue loot. So there are obviously faster ways of making that cash, but you know, that's a sort of happy bonus to the hacking that you want to do later. So I think you tend to be guaranteed about 50 million for running one of these sites, but with much bigger potential. Okay, tank's holding absolutely fine, so we're going to swap to another drone damage amp. And they make a big difference. So our passive regen has dropped from in the 300s to 173, but our DPS has now gone up to 400. The drones are 337 because everything's out of range for this weapon system now. But you can see they do make relatively short work of the stuff. So we just have 3 left to clear, so go get that one. While you're doing this, definitely remember to leave one of these here. You don't want to accidentally clear them all. The next wave is a problem. If the next wave spawns and you get scrammed, then you're dead. There's no way the Stratios can tank it. They're designed for much more difficult, much stronger battleships. Let's have a quick look at what is in there. Yeah, so you end up with 10 cruisers, 6 frigates, but the cruisers are stronger. They've got much higher DPS outputs, and they've also got some remote reps, so you just can't break the tank. Okay, I'll keep ticking through. Go get that one. There we go, someone has launched probes. But I can't go anywhere, I'm scrammed. So this is where things start to get a little bit twitchy. Hopefully, because they're scanner probes, they're just, you know, it's just a general explorer looking for something to do or just move through the wormhole. But you know, if it's the residents, because there is a structure here, so maybe the residents have logged on and are scanning down the wormhole. They'll scan down this site, they'll see a Stratios and descan, and they'll probably come try kill me. But we'll see. And this is a common problem, obviously. C5s, they are sort of an odd mix of being really active or completely dead. So you might just get unlucky. Alright, last one of these. But also you can't just warp off straight away, so once we clear this last one, we'll pull hammerheads back in, but we will still be scrammed by the one that remains. That's when then our ECM drones come in. So we launch ECM drones, we set them on the remaining ship while we sort of refit and wait for things to move on. And then when they're able to break break the targeting of the last ship, we can start going hacking, or we can warp off, depending on whether we think we're in trouble. But that takes a little while. And then eventually the ship gives up on us completely and goes after our drones, and then obviously things are fine. But we'll see. Obviously, you need capacitor to be able to warp off and things as well. So if they keep you constantly neutered, can't do anything. Okay, nearly there, into the hull. There is no good damage type to deal. It's just across the board, so that's why it doesn't matter if you're using hammerheads or warriors or whatever. Right, bring them in before they go and attack that one. There are quite a few signatures in here, so it might take them a while to scan down. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing for now. Launch the ECM drones and set them on that ship. And then as things tick along, we can now swap out, for example, our drone damage amp for a warp core stab, so we could now get away if we wanted to. If something lands on grid, we'll trigger that and we'll leave. We'll swap this one for a nanofiber as well. So you can see here they already successfully broke the lock, but then it locks back up and goes again. So you need to wait till it really starts to aggro. We've pulled in all the wrecks with our MTU, so we will now loot that and scoop it. 37.2 million, that's not too bad. Why is that stacked like that? There we go. Loot that, scoop. Because it looks less suspicious if your MTU is not on D-scan. And then what else can we refit for now? I'm going to refit for the cargo scanner first, because we've got 70-kilometer range. If we have some capacitor, we can already... our targeting range is too low. Okay. That's coming out. You do have to be careful because the incoming DPS isn't tiny. So as you start pulling out the tank modules and your shield gets a lot smaller, then your shield regen plummets and things as well. But let's start doing it. If we think we've got a problem, we can always wait the minute to reposition the mobile depot. Relic. That's how tiny the shield is now. And this one's within 41, so might as well scan that while we're here. Yeah, so that's just data cores. I'm actually gonna form a fleet with myself. Pilot form fleet with, because when you're in a fleet you can tag things. So I know now if I tag this with 0 and then unlock it, there's nothing in this one that I want to go and hack, so I don't need to waste time hacking it. So that's quite a nice system. Chuck the data on there as well. Let's scoop the depot and we'll start drifting in towards what's going on. Weird that he's still got his web on me. That a quick pump. and start locking up and scanning other stuff. So I'm not going to bother with that one either. Or that one. So I do sometimes hack these because if you like, you do need data cores if you're doing Tech 3 manufacturing, of course, but I've got a pretty big pile now, so I'm not bothered. That one's completely empty. You can see now he's stopped targeting me completely, and is now going after my drones. So from here we should be pretty good, but we've just got to keep an eye on D-scan. And yeah, I'm just going to do this. What I will do though first, soon, is we've got the... Oh, he's already successfully getting my drone. That's annoying. So let's throw another one out there. That's annoying. So that's where you have to be careful. Let's just do this anyway. So what happened there was he killed a drone, so I then went to drop one, and just as I dropped him and pressed to go take him on, we broke targeting range, which then meant when I hit attack, it went after the can instead and pulled them all off. So now we have to go and try and do that again, and I might have to drop my depot because I've got, like, you can see the tank is not good when you have got nothing up. But this is what's in the Talican, 86 million just in this abandoned Talican battleship. The hull sections, so 2 small hull sections is for Tech 3 destroyers, wrecked and malfunctioning hull sections for Tech 3 cruisers, intact hull section, that's where all the money is, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm going to go and hack that now because we want to be able to leave if someone comes in on us, and then we've got a good bit of loot. But we can also keep scanning the rest. Tag, get rid. Killed another one of my drones. Doing particularly well there. Tag, get rid, and now let's go after this with the relic analyzer. Hacking shouldn't be too difficult. They're pretty easy. There we go. The other thing to bear in mind is these things are not small. The hull sections are all around 50. So just be aware of that when you're picking things up. They're worth virtually nothing. But we've got 86 million. There you go. So I haven't got space. So what's the lowest value one? 51, 22, 5 and 5, and then here, yeah, so that's fine. Happy to leave all them behind. And he's hit another one of my drones. He's doing very well. So let's unlock that. Quickly scan everything else. No. 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 see, so that's worth going after. Takmal Quantum Sphere, that's worth 10-11 million by itself. So that one's worth doing. We'll go hack that. Person's still scanning. Still a fair few more to go through. He's about to take out another one of my drones. This is more than I've ever... This is easily more than I've ever lost on the drone front. It's crazy. Normally they're moving too fast, they can't track it when it's that close. So this time a data analyzer. Because he's locked me up again now. Oh, I do need to go in there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, how close is he? This guy's proving to be... it's a saber. So I am probably dead. So, pull these back in. Let's drop mobile depot. Lock him up. Can't. Or I am dead. Very dead. But you can still see that you would be able to get away. Sorry, you could, if you were playing more safely, you'd get away, because they're going to pod me as well. Because I'm in a bubble, so no getting away here. But we also saw the amount of loot and how to run the site. But, and away we go. You're going to pop me? Or you're just going to scramble me? There we go. And that's a quick way to get to high sec. But yes, we did actually finish the site. You guys saw the potential and how we run it, and then we got to see me die and the risk that goes with it. So, is where I'll end the recording. I'll get another Stratios before heading back into wormhole space. There is somehow 2 of me. A fancy little pod. And we will see you all in the next one. I'll get my stuff and head back in. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.